All right, friends, yay. So we are on the fourth pillar of Black Girl Creative today. And it's a pillar that I think is really, really important for artists, for Black women, or just for people in general. And that is holistic healing, holistic health, holistic mental health, physical, holistic meaning the whole person, right? So spirit, soul, body, mental, however you want to put it, all the whole thing of how we're made up of, like holistically, like our minds, our spirit, our soul. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about holistic, right? Like something holistic and healing. Healing, like Black women, y'all, we got a lot to heal from, okay? Lots of things to heal from, like corporately and then individually. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being in process. But I know for a lot of us, we either avoid it because it's seen as like a weakness. We don't want to be looked at as weak because the whole world deems us as weak, right? But also, I know for a lot of people in the Black community, mental health was something we just didn't talk about. We just didn't talk about. You know, it wasn't until recently that all these advances have been made in society where mental health isn't such a taboo topic anymore. Like it's not as bad as it was in the 90s. I feel like in the 90s, I didn't really hear anything about depression. I didn't hear anything about, suicide much. Even though it was happening, and even though looking back, there were signs of it, for me and for other people I know, it wasn't really like widely talked about. And it was to our detriment because, we're thinking like, oh, well, there must just be something wrong with me. Why am I just sad, And really, it could have been more than just like sadness. It's understandable. We're in a society that wears us down, that weighs us down constantly. We wonder why we're tired or why we're sick. You know what I mean? And because of all that stuff affects our creativity, right? Like if we're not in a good headspace, we're either not going to create or we're going to create for the wrong reasons. And so it's important for us to really deal with healing ourselves holistically. And then there's the other side, right? Where if you're creating like crazy and you're not showering, you're not taking care of yourself, you're not exercising, you're not eating good food, right? Then you might cut your life short. Like your art might suffer because you're not in a good space, like physically, to be able to create good things. And then spiritually, if you're not really taking into consideration how sacred the act is of creating, then you might create to feel, good about yourself and to be prideful versus like, oh, I can actually create something to help out someone else, or creativity is actually a gift from my creator to give to other people, So here at Black Girl Creative, we believe that before becoming free enough to create art, movements, personal projects, and businesses, we must heal. So like I said, if we are walking around the earth with a feeling of unworthiness, we will think that our worth resides in what we make, how much money we accumulate, how many people, follow us on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is, how much money we got in the bank account. You know what I'm saying? Like just silly metrics that have nothing to do with our worth. We start to internalize those things as like, oh, this is how I determine if I'm worthy or not, right? We have to do the work so that we know without a shadow of a doubt that we are worthy, that we are good enough, that we are children of God, that we are beautiful and brilliant and all these things, right? But also know that we're flawed and that it's okay if we make a mistake or if we fall on our faces, right? Because on one hand, it's like this feeling of unworthiness. And then on the other hand, it's like, if I look weak, people will think that I'm not good enough, right? And so screw those people, forget those people. That's not important. Like you are important. And it's okay to be weak because we're just humans. Like we are only humans. Humans are some of the most fickle and, fragile. Thank you. Fragile creatures on the planet, and it's okay if we are weak. It's okay if we are weak. Being weak does not make us flawed. And so we have to really do the work of undoing the stuff in our minds. And I'm not a therapist. I'm not a licensed therapist at all, or a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I'm just a person here knowing that people need to heal. I'm a person here that has created space for creatives to come and commune. And I really do think there is something therapeutic about women coming together and talking about problems they may have or, working through issues. But I am here to champion therapy. And therapy, I also understand, is something that not everybody has access to. So I don't even want to talk about necessarily going to therapy. If you can afford it, go, by all means. Just because you go to therapy doesn't mean something's wrong with you. Just because you need maintenance. So like you don't just take your car to the car shop when it's broken. Hopefully, you do maintenance so that it doesn't break down. In the same way, you can do the same thing with yourself, right? You can go to therapy just to check in, maybe once a month, however you can afford it, or however, whatever you have the capacity for. Like, I recommend that. But for people who don't have the money for it, nor do they have the capacity for it right now, community, that's something we talked about in 2 episodes ago. Community, like that's important, and that is a part of the therapy process, is being in community with other people who are just like you, who are going through the same things you're going through. And so here at Black Girl Creative, we address holistic healing of the spirit, soul, and body through creating through community talks, workshops, exercises, and challenges that feed and nourish the whole person. While we are not licensed therapists at all, unless people want to come on, but even then, I don't want them to come on to give therapy. We believe that therapy is beneficial for everyone. Everyone can go to therapy, every single person. With therapy and creativity, we hope to be able to free and recover the creative in all of us. That's the hope here. When it comes to holistic healing, there is something healing about making something. There's something healing about the process. And if you come up against your things, like if you come up against like your limiting beliefs and all this other stuff, make something. Like, I know so many friends that are trying to start a business and they're like, I don't know if I'm good enough for this. I don't know if, people are going to like it. And then if they don't like it, what does that mean about me? That's doing the work. And I really feel like we can pair therapy and creativity together. So there are things, there are going to be prompts and like exercises and, like I said, communal activities where we can come together and really talk through these things in more depth. But I really want to push the issue that, like, if your whole person is not well, your art will not be well either. It will not be able to sustain itself. Like, you'll be, again, working for your worth. You will be creating art that is subpar, not for like the world standards, but your own standard, because you're not well. When I'm depressed, I can't create anything. I had a talk, on YouTube about how I was going through a friend heartbreak. Like, I broke up with like this whole crew of friends that I was friends with, and it was heartbreaking for me. And I was able to make a whole EP about it called Matter. You can check it out. But for the long term, like, it was great for that one short time, and I put it out there and I didn't market it because I'm just like, oh, I'm not worthy. These people hate me. What if they hear it? What are they going to think about me? Blah, blah, blah. And so while in the moment it was great to be inspired by that, experience, that horrible experience, long term, I didn't create anything because I was depressed, because I was so sad and I was just like burdened. And I really needed to work through the process of healing. And so now I'm here and I feel like I am more healed. I don't know if I'm healed all the way, but I'm more healed than I was maybe like a year ago. I can create on a constant basis, on a consistent basis, because their words of them telling me I'm not worthy, or that I'm ugly, or that my music is dumb, or, my creative work isn't unimportant, or that I'm too much, or I'm too emotional, isn't like ringing in my head, right? And sometimes that stuff does come up because I'm human and I'm flawed. But for the most part, I can create knowing that it's okay for me to create because I've done the work. I'm doing the work. And so for you, I want to encourage you to do the work however you can. If you can't go to therapy right now, that's totally fine, right? But if you have a group of friends you can get around and just talk to them, and be like, I just need you to hear me out. Sometimes therapy is just good just to get things off your chest, just so that you feel heard and that you feel like I'm not crazy. You know what I mean? And somebody trustworthy. I made the mistake with that group of friends telling them that I struggle with depression. And you know what happened? They threw it back in my face because they were not a safe place. So I don't want that same thing to happen to you. If you're working through things, again, as we talk about, get in community, tell your story, own your stories, you know what I'm saying? Use some creativity, use some art, or whatever you need to use to really get your stuff out there, to really process the stuff. If you have to write a song, do that. Poetry, do that. If you have to paint, if you have to cook yourself healthy, okay? If you have to, give yourself, healthy, do what you gotta do to get in a healthy space. But again, I'm not a therapist. What I'm saying is just my opinion, my own experience, but I also encourage you to go to therapy. And I know that therapy is sometimes, again, because of access, but also because of therapy is like speed dating. And for me, sometimes it's exhausting. I know I need to go to therapy, right? But trying to build relationships with people and tell them all, spill all your guts over and over and over again, it can be so exhausting. And so I'm taking a break because it's because it's like I'm speed dating with people that I'm trusting with the secrets of my life, and that can be exhausting. And so if you're just not in a place in your life where you can do that right now, totally understandable. But listen, sis, like, your holistic health, your holistic well-being is so vitally important. And put the art aside. I'm not talking about you being productive. I'm talking about you living a good and happy and healthy life, okay? If you want to live a happy life, you have to do the work. And it's hard and it's scary and it's not fun. Like, I need to do the work physically, right? I got to work out. I got to stretch. I got to move my body. I wake up in the morning. I don't feel like doing it. I feel like coming here and just start working. But I know that if I have the work I want to do, I have to be in a physically healthy place to be able to carry out the vision that God gave to me, right? And so in order to do that, I have to move my body. I have to exercise. I have to eat well. You know what I'm saying? I have to cut back on things and fast food and all this other stuff, right? And it's not fun. It's not enjoyable. Like, I would much rather eat a cheeseburger than I would like to eat a salad. I don't know, whatever the healthy food is in your life, right? But it would be worth it in the long run so that I can live to 120 and still be impacting the lives of the youth, of women next to me, and be able to pour back into them. I don't want to miss my appointment or my opportunity because of things that I'm struggling with. And I don't want you to miss that either. I don't want you to miss the opportunity to create, to make, to be there for people that you love, to create a safe space for other people because you're not well. I don't want you to miss out on the beauty in your life because you're not well. Your life is beautiful, sis, and I want you to wake up to it and to see it every day. So again, holistic healing or well-being is a vital part of Black Girl Creative. In the future, I want to be able to raise money so that we can send some Black women to therapy, cover their vouchers, you know what I'm saying? Like, do stuff like that. Like, and we'll talk more about that in giving and serving in the next episode. But while you have access to this, while you can, get in community, get under people that you can learn from and glean from, get in community with people that you can pour into, because you being of worth to other people is really important too. You being important and impactful to the lives of other people is very, very important. So get in a place of service too. And again, we'll get into that next episode. But until next episode, you guys, please consider therapy. It's beneficial for everybody, no matter if you are depressed or if you feel good. We can all use therapy. We can all heal spiritually, physically, mentally, soulfully, whatever word you want to use. Healing is so important to our creative process and to our well-being as women in general. So there is generational trauma that we have to heal. There is, our people before us didn't have not everybody most people didn't have the access to therapists. Our grandmothers probably didn't go to therapy, because probably was looked down on. And there are things that we've inherited from our grandparents that they haven't processed, that we need to process for the sake of being a better person. And maybe even if you have kids, for your children, and we need to show them and other people that it's okay to be in process, to be in therapy, to do what you have to do to get well. That's why I speak so publicly and openly about my process with depression and anxiety and all the things, because when it's freeing for myself, I can remove that bondage off. Like, I don't have to be ashamed of it. And I'm showing other people that you don't have to be ashamed of that either. You're free. Like, get free, get free, get free. I want y'all to get free so bad and stay free. Stay free 2021. Okay. So, and part of that, I'll say this too. A part of that is knowing what binds us, right? So if I know a group of friends makes me feel like trash, I probably need to stop hanging out with them. If I know I eat this meal and it makes my stomach hurt, I probably need to limit how much I eat this, right? And so in the same way, really pay attention to your triggers, really pay attention to the stuff that really affects you, and then make the decision to protect yourself. Make the decision that you are worthy of good things and a good experience in life, and then do the work to remove those things. So again, there'll be events and stuff like this to really dive deeper into this. And so, but until next time, you guys, really just think about what I gave you in this episode. And yeah, I will talk to you all in the next episode. In the next episode, we're going to be talking about giving and service. And so some of you might be like, I don't want to listen to this, but please check out this episode, okay? Because it's really, really, really important. And it's something that we should all really take into consideration and treasure, because we're here to be of service to other people. So until next episode, please keep creating, because your story, your art, all of it all matters. Okay? I will talk to you all very, 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 very soon.